Good morning. We're going to get started in 1 minute. Let's see if we can take care of this one again. Hopefully still bright enough to see me there, but not too bright that it causes any problems. Okay, I have 9 o'clock here, so I'm going to get started. Welcome to the Cowichan Brain Injury Society's 10, 10, and 10 Morning Wake Up Program. Cowichan Injury Society is a nonprofit organization that serves folks with brain injuries and their supports throughout the Cowichan Valley. The 10, 10, and 10 Morning Wake Up Program is a program that gets you starting off your week, your day right by providing 10 minutes of movement, 10 minutes of learning, and 10 minutes of mindfulness. And that coincides really nicely with the 6 pillars of brain health. So 3 of them are being kind of tackled in this program. So we're getting some movement, which is one of the 6 pillars. We are getting some stress management through the mindfulness, and we're getting some cognitive stimulation with learning something new. I am Billy, the kinesiologist at Cowichan Brain Injury Society, and I want to remind you that Cowichan Brain Injury Society is not liable for any risk or injury. It is up to you to keep yourself safe during this program. What that looks like is making sure your environment is clear of any hazards, that you're able to move your arms and legs out in all different directions, that you're not on a slippery or uneven surface, that you have something to use to balance if you're trying to do any standing activities, but we will always have seated exercises as well. And also just listening to your body. If something's feeling too much or if there's pain with the movement, changing that movement, modifying or taking a break. We're working towards a full 10 minutes of moving to get our heart rate a little bit up, which is what really helps stimulate that brain function. All right, I like to listen to some music and have some water close by while we're getting moving. So I have an earbud in, but if you want to put on a CD or the radio or your own earbud, you can do that now. All right, I'm gonna get started here. I'm gonna press play. Awesome. I'm gonna just start with some shoulder rolls. Exaggerating that movement, bringing your shoulders up to your ears and back. Nice work. A few more. All right, let's go the other direction. Again, you should feel your shoulder blades really going through a nice range of motion. Awesome. Couple more. Great. Okay, we're going to let our shoulders sit in a kind of downwards motion, our arms and limbs hanging, chest open. We're going to raise our arms up above our head if we can, swinging backwards. Ideally, you're in a nice upright position, core engaged, not leaning back in your chair. Being nice and tall, feet planted on the ground. You can do this standing. Good. A couple more seconds here. Awesome. Okay, we're going to bring our arms out to the side here. Bring our palms up, palms down, back down, up, switch, down, palms up, palms down, arms down, palms up, arms up, palms down, arms down, palms up, arms up, palms down, arms down. Good. We're going to try to keep this movement. Don't worry about switching with your palms up and down, but trying to keep this movement and even trying to go overhead if you can. And we're going to add in some marching. So seated, what this looks like. Yes. And standing. If this is too much, just do the marching. Good, a couple more seconds here. Almost there, good work. All right, we're gonna be doing some twisting. Reset your shoulders. We're gonna be doing a twisting and a reach. Just like kind of armpit height here. We're reaching the opposite side as when we flex or bring up our arm here. And only twisting as far as feels good. I'm not twisting very far here, just a little twist, but we can go deeper if that feels good for you. Really good for your spine health, a little bit of twisting, though this can activate some nausea and dizziness, so be mindful of that. Good work, keep it up. And this looks like standing. I'll do for the last 10 seconds. Here I can really get that weight transfer as well from foot to foot. Twisting. Nice work. Good. Do some hip hinging. We often call this little exercise good mornings. So hands on our hips, nice and tall. Spine here, core engaged. Keeping our back and spine in same position. We're just moving our hips here, bending forward as far as we can. And up. Good. If you do get nauseous or dizzy, stay seated with this exercise. If that's not a problem, you can use something to hold on to. The chair here. You can use that. Put your hands on, bend down. Again, just your hips are moving here. I'm going to show you from the side too. Good work. Keep it up. A few more seconds. Nice work. 5 more seconds. Nice. Next, we're going to do some side stepping. So our bum is at the edge of our chair. Feet are planted on the ground in front of us. Our right leg goes to the side, left. Side steps here. Good, opening up our hips. Trying to think about keeping our hips forward. So they're pointing forward, almost like headlights. And we're just opening through that pelvis. Good. Standing. Good work. It's 10 more seconds here. Trying to get control through this external rotation of the hips. Good. Okay. We're going to keep a side step, but now we're not opening our hips up the same way. We're just doing little side steps. So less control, a bit quicker here. Standing. Transferring weight side to side. Good. Bring in some arms if you want, kind of in any which way. Add in that reaching. Adding your arms in helps stimulate your brain more actions, especially if they're cross actions. Crossing that midline, very good for our brain. And we're trying to quicken this up a little bit to get that heart rate up. Nice, almost there. Good. Great. Okay, we're gonna have our hands at the side here, and then we'll just bring them out as far as we can. You can cross right over your belly. Good. Nice controlled movement here. And then we'll do something faster again. Good. Okay, we're gonna go back down to our feet. We're just doing quick feet here, tap, 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 tap. So we're not driving our knee up like with the march. You can do like a running in place while you're seated. So get your heart rate up. You can do this standing. Good. Again, this could be hard for balance. You might have to slow down or hold on to something. Try to get that heart rate up. We're gonna go for another 30 seconds here. Keep it up. Running in place. Good. Almost there. 15 more seconds. Keep going. Awesome work. All right, nice job. Okay, we're gonna do some more spinal activities here. So we're gonna do some cat-cow, seated cat-cow. Put your hands on your knees here, and you're going to think about arching your back, or rounding your back, I should say. I'll say the arches, both of them are arches, both ways. So rounding, and then bring our chest forward, arching the back. Rounding, head down, arching, head up, chest up. Arching, rounding, arching. You can bring your breath to the movement. So inhaling or exhaling when you're up. Opposite down. Okay, shake it out. That's it for our movement. I'm still waking up this morning, so apologies. I just myself fumbling my words a little bit more than usual. It's also already getting quite warm in my house. Whew. It's supposed to be 32 degrees today, it said. Jeez. I'm just putting my earbud in my pocket here. Okay, so we're still talking about cognitive stimulation here. So I'm going to talk about some different learning styles. So there's 7 different learning styles we're going to go over just briefly today. Now this oversimplifies learning, but it does kind of help you think about what kind of learning might work better for you. I know I definitely have a combination, and ideally if I have multiple different learning styles kind of being taught or ways of teaching, that helps me really integrate information and learn new things. So we're going to go through it, and while I'm talking about it, try to think about in your past or currently what's helpful for you in learning new information. So, like I said, we have 7 different learning styles. So there's visual. These people tend to think in pictures and need some type of visual stimuli. So it might not even be very much. It might be some graphs or something in the background over a PowerPoint, but having some type of visual can help them learn. Mind maps, infographics, these kind of things can be really helpful in understanding information. And there's solitary learning. So that's more kind of internal, likes to study alone, self-reflective, self-motivated, can do well with like online learning or self-guided learning, quite introspective, so kind of thinks about how things work in their life, and prefers to study alone, work alone, etc. Gives them time to kind of sort through it on their own. There's social learning, which is learning in groups, teamwork, collaboration. It might help them to teach it themselves. That's for me. I like that. Getting feedback from others, giving feedback, processes through discussion often, which definitely is something I do. That usually these folks are quite skilled in communication and good at collaborating and working with others. And that helps integrate that information. The next, number 4, is auditory learning. So this is folks who can learn well from listening, from spoken instruction. They can be sensitive to music and sounds. If you present things in a rhythm, that can be really helpful for these people learn well through lectures and podcasts, etc. So you might find, I like listening podcasts and stuff, great, but I tend to like to have my hands busy while I do that. If I'm not doing something else with it, my mind wanders quite a bit, and it has to be something I really am interested in. If it's not something I am interested in, auditory learning does not work for me at all. It literally goes one ear out the other. So I might add in my own experience just to help people understand what this looks like. Next, number 5 is verbal learning. It's through speech, writing, also listening and reading, which to me feels like very vast, very broad. So they might like to write out things, write summaries of things, writing essays can be helpful, taking notes can be helpful. It has that listening still in it, which I don't know, I feel like we covered that already, but writing and reading is good for them. Number 6 is kinesthetic or physical. This is really about movement, doing. So this might even just be, like I was saying, doing something with my hands while I'm listening to information. But hands-on, experimental learning, experiential learning, so experiments, experimental, and experiential is doing and going out and having experiences, field trips, things like that, that can really help with information being integrated. But it can also just like incorporate even a little bit of movement, like asking someone to come up and write something on a whiteboard versus just sitting in class and taking notes. So even just having that little bit of movement can be helpful. Logical and reasoning. These are folks who really like to categorize things. They can think about abstract concepts and problem solve. They enjoy strategy games, stuff like this. Much more kind of logical thinking, breaking it down into these logical pieces and then fitting them together. So those are kind of the 7 different types of learning styles. So again, that quite simplifies things. You might realize you lean to a couple of these different things, or having a combination of things is really ideal for you. And certain topics might be different. Like if it's something you're really interested in, you can probably consume the information in any way. But if it's something that isn't something that you naturally like, then you might need to find different tools. And I'm going to share an example of, like, I don't really like politics very much. It doesn't, I wish it interests me, and like human rights interests me, so those are intertwined, but just like general politics, not really my cup of tea. And if I listen to stuff on the news, it just like literally goes in and goes out the other, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have no idea what I listen to. But if I'm having a conversation with people about politics and what's going on and who's been voted in and what their platform is, that I'm so much more engaged in. So I'm getting that verbal piece still, but I'm involved by like speaking it, right? So there's that social piece that really helps me with topics that I don't naturally, go towards. But if it has anything to do with psychology, neurobiology, physiology, those kind of things, I can just listen to a podcast and be happy as can be. Ideally, still having my hands moving in some way. I also find that just reading text is not enough for me, but if I read out loud, it can be really helpful for me. And after brain injury, how we learn may have changed, or how we need to combine things may have changed. Now, I think I've always kind of struggled with just reading or just listening, but having two pieces together can be really helpful for me. So again, if I'm reading a textbook that's really dense, I'm not taking in any of that. But as soon as I read it out loud, pretend that I'm reading it to people, I'm way more engaged. So finding what works for you, what combinations work for you, can be really helpful. And that doesn't mean if you learn in those ways, you're going to just get it and now it's in your brain and you just have it. Still, that recall and practicing is really important. The kind of incremental learning steps we talked about last week. So this can be a good tool to start thinking about how you learn, how you like to learn, what works best for you, and then trying to bring that in if you're trying to learn something new. Me, the teaching bit is, again, really helpful. So if I go do some research and then I have to come and explain it to you folks, that really helps me retain the information and have it be more integrated into a brain, I guess. Reminder again, I think I've said this each week with the cognitive stimulation. This might be more for myself, but that resistance, the difficulty, when things get hard, that's where the learning really happens. That's when our brain is actively changing and rewiring. So the resistance is the real magic when it comes to learning. So if you're struggling with something and it's feeling hard, sometimes it's the time to take a break and then come back to it, because we don't want to get unregulated, right? That's not helpful, and then our brain might shut down. But noticing, that's where the real learning is happening. Okay, this is feeling hard, I'm going to step away, but it doesn't mean I'm never going to come back to it. It means I'm definitely going to come back to it because I'm really close to that rewiring, that changing in the brain. I hope that's been helpful. Next week, it's still July, but we're going to end our conversation with cognitive, or it's still June. We're not quite in July next Tuesday, but we're going to end the conversation about cognitive stimulation. We're going to do a little bit about the vagus nerve next week, and then probably talk about mental health versus mental illness, etc., for the month of July. Just letting people know what's coming up. Okay, we're going to do our mindfulness practice. I'm going to grab my water because I've been talking a lot. You should drink some water too. If you have any topics you'd like us to cover in the future, because this was our last pillar of brain health was cognitive stimulation. So if there's different topics you're interested in us either diving more into, etc., please comment. We'll take a look and we'll try to cover those topics. Also, if you do want references for the different things, I can always post those. All right, so we're going to do some tapping, I think, today for our mindfulness practice. So let's do those butterfly taps again. We've done that before. You can cross your hands over your chest. I like to have my kind of 3 fingers kind of right tucked in below my collarbone and my humerus there. There's kind of this nice gap here. I like my fingers in there. And let's just take a couple deep breaths. So in through our nose, out through our mouth. I'm lengthening my exhales right now. So my exhales are about 5 counts. My inhale's about 3. This is because I think I got a little worked up with our topic, so I'm just trying to ground myself, turn up that parasympathetic nervous system. All right. I'm going to let my breathing just go back to normal, whatever that's normal is for you. And I'm going to start gently tapping my body here. Nice rhythmic tapping. I'm going to close my eyes. And try to focus on the sound of the tapping, as well as the physical sensation of the tapping. So as thoughts of my day, what I need to accomplish, conversations I had in the past couple days come into my mind, whatever it is, I'm just going to try to let those thoughts pass me by and keep focusing on the tapping. Feel free to mute me while you get into your own rhythm here and using the tapping as your refocusing tool. Not being judgmental with yourself if your brain wanders, but just coming back to the tapping as needed. You can add words to each tap, mantra for yourself while you do this mindfulness practice. Doing a very small little mantra, just I trust, I trust, I trust. Doing something little like that. Maybe I love, I love, I love. Or maybe it's let go, let go, let go. Going at this rhythm. And go for another 2 minutes. Trying to let the rest of your body relax, your face and muscles. Nice work. And do 1 more minute, focusing on that sound, the tapping. Don't worry about your breath or anything else that needs to be done. Any other sounds, demands. Being here with yourself and your body. 20 more seconds here. You can put your hands down or stop the tapping. Let those sensations sink into the rest of your body. Being present in your experience right here, internally. You're perfect just the way you are in this moment. It doesn't mean we don't want change or growth, but it means you are just fine in how you are currently. All right, you can uncross your hands, put them gently on your thighs, open your eyes, do any little bit of movement you might need in your body that feels good for you. You're waking up this morning. All right. I hope you're feeling grounded, at peace, that you got some movement, and that you feel like you're starting your day off right today. Hope you have a great day in this hot, sunny Cowichan Valley we have here. And continue to keep that brain healthy from all of us at Cowichan Brain Injury Society. Thanks. See you next week.